How concerning of a loss was this for these Rockets?
It's just game one of their NBA regular season. There's 81 games to go, yet I'm very concerned. That was some of the most abysmal, awful defense I have seen in the NBA in quite some time. That was just awful. The Houston Rockets didn't look like they could stop anybody. And I heard Mike D'Antoni talking during the game, first game of the season, legs are not there, except I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. And the reason why is because there were so many open shots that the New Orleans Pelicans were taking. You just sat up there and literally you could have put an APB out for Houston's defense, asked where the hell were you? Now, obviously, I'm not going to sit up there and blame Carmelo Anthony per se, but I will say that his arrival, combined with the exit of Trevor Ariza, along with Luke Mbah-a-Moute, has really changed the complexion of the Houston Rockets. And I watched them last night, and that was just some awful, awful defensive basketball here. And if you don't play defense, if you can't, first of all, they can't play defense much worse. So they're definitely going to get better defensively. But if you don't figure out a way to somehow, some way resemble somewhat the defense that you had last year in Houston, my prediction is even stronger about the Lakers going to the Western Conference Finals. It's even stronger because Houston won't be standing in their way because they won't even be relevant.
I mean, how concerning was the loss? You really don't know about this stuff till 20-something games into the season, and then more or less you understand what the playoff rankings are going to be and everything. Not one game. That said, they couldn't stop.
Look worse.
Whoever Capello wasn't on gave him the business. I mean, this is a bad defensive team. Right. Now, we knew that going into the season. This was my issue with the Rockets. I'm not surprised by this. They will not be a bad team. They will be a good team. In fact, the Rockets will be a very good team because though their defense got better, really the thing about the Rockets is their offense, and Carmelo should help there, I think, in the second unit because he could be the focal point more in the second unit. Carmelo is past his prime. I said there was going to be a lot of pressure on him this year, Stephen A. He's past his prime. He's been past his prime for several years, and that's coincided with a shift in the way the game is played. Like his iso ball skills don't play as well in this league as they did in the league 7 or 8 years ago. So not only is he declining, but the whole landscape underneath his feet is shifting. The ground is shifting, making him even less effective. But they lost 2 real defenders, and we saw that last night.
I got to tell you something. I'm watching the Pelicans last night, and I made a mistake.
Okay.
I know they were going to the playoffs, but I questioned their formidability because I'm like, is Anthony Davis and who? This kid, Etuan Moore, you watched him in the 21 points he dropped. Penetrate into the teeth of the defense, dropping teardrops in the lane and what have you, doing what he wanted. Now, again, this is against Houston's defense now, which was awful. But I'm thinking the absence of Rondo hurt them to a degree because Anthony Davis is there, and who's going to be that facilitator? But the combination of Moore, along with Payton. Look, Drew Holiday only had 10 points last night.
Julius Randle.
Julius Randle.
Randle.
I bring up Julius Randle and his 25 points for this reason. Magic Johnson, I need an explanation. I need an explanation as to why that man's gone from the Los Angeles Lakers.
I understand. I understand why.
I'd prefer to hear it from Magic.
Well, how many forwards do you want on the team? You ain't getting rid of LeBron.
I know.
You ain't getting rid of Ingram, and Kuzma had a great rookie year.
I know, but Randle, man, when you got a workhorse like that coming off the bench, that's invaluable. I'm talking about off the bench. That's invaluable. And so I'm just saying, listen, it's 12 spots on the roster because you got rid of somebody else. I'm just going to ask them. But I'm just telling you right now, New Orleans, the size that they have in their backcourt with Anthony Davis being that monster, Drew Holiday being a defender who could drop 25 or 30 on you on any given night, and Alvin Gentry can coach. He can coach. So let's not forget that either.
Julius Randle was big. I understand. I think Julius Randle's actually a dangerous player for a team because when he's going well, you can get fooled into believing he's better than he is. But that doesn't mean he can't play and give you valuable minutes.
Right.
And those Wildcats there, man, I'll tell you what, in New Orleans, he's a good addition, actually, as it turns out. It looks early on.
By the way, we didn't even bring up Mirotic. Dropped 30, hit 6 or 8 3.
Listen,
this is a guy that showed up in the postseason,
when Boogie got
too.
hurt and they made that deal, in fact, even though Boogie and AD were figuring it out, the amount of money, had Boogie never gotten hurt, that you'd have to invest to keep that together versus Mirotic, who's just kind of a perfect fit with AD.
Yeah.
Anthony Davis, as I said to start the year, going to be the MVP, is off to the exact kind of start that I expected. 30-plus points, mid-double-digit rebounds. His team beat a good team.
Before we
on
move
the road.
on, really quick, I just got to ask you, because Houston almost beat the Warriors if CP3 didn't get hurt. I know it's just one game. How much worse do they look?
They look considerably worse defensively. They look like they can't stop anybody. And listen, if your formula is to simply outscore everybody, that's not going to work. This is not Steve Nash with Joe Johnson and Amari Stoudemire and Sean Marion and those boys from D'Antoni's Phoenix days more than a decade ago. This is not that kind of team. This is Harden and CP3, and we know how big time they are, with a Melo that's got something to prove because everybody's talking about how he's diminished, and he's 33 years of age. So we've got that issue going on. And then you got P.J. Tucker, there's a question mark. Clint Capella is going to give you what he gives you. But you're looking at Houston now, questionable depth, and now no defense with a coach that was known for not caring about defense until last season.
Bottom line
it's a problem.